Okay, perfect. All right, so today's badge work is going to be the survival camper. All right, so of course, this badge is for our Ambassador Girl Scouts. So today we're going to be doing the 1, 2, and 4, steps 1, 2, and 4. So step 1 is plan a survival camping trip. Step 2 is going to be to gather our gear. And then step 4 is learn a survival camp skill. So those are the 3 that we're going to work on today. And then steps 3 and steps 5, you will get to do those on your own. So before we go and dig deep into this badge, we are going to start off with our Girl Scout promise and Girl Scout law. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. All right, our Girl Scout law. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Okay, so the purpose of our badge, once you complete all the steps, is that you have planned, that you have planned and gone on a survival camping trip with a group of Girl Scouts or family members. So that is going to be the purpose of earning this badge. So let's go ahead and get into step 1. Step 1 is plan a survival camping trip, okay? So with that, we have a couple of different things here that we want to discuss. So number 1 is, what's the purpose? Why are you wanting to go on this survival camping trip? What is it going to mean to you? What do you want that end result to be? Okay. Number 2 is, who's going to go? Who's going with you? Are you going to have some girlfriends go with you? Is it a team of you all that are going? Is it your Girl Scout troop that is going to be going? You want to make sure you know what troop leaders might be going with you. So who is on that list for this trip? Next is your transportation. How are you going to get there? Are you driving? Is there a parent that's driving you? Are you all getting dropped off? You want to make sure you know how you're going to get there. So skills. You want to make sure you have really good skills before you are going on this camping trip. So maybe you need to know how to administer different things in your first aid kit. Maybe you need to know how to cook some meals, make a box oven, things like that. How are you going to be able to get around while you are out there on your camping trip? Next is risk management. So risk management, you want to make sure that you know, are you near a hospital? If you have to sign any waivers, anything like that, if you do, you want to make sure that you have that paperwork on hand. You want to make sure that you have any type of medicine that you might need on hand with you, and just make sure that you're staying safe. Next would be the itinerary. You want to have a good list of what you're going to be doing on your trip, the dates that you're going to be there, the time that you're arriving, the times that you're going to leave. You also want to make sure that you know what activities that you're going to do. So you might be going hiking or backpacking. You want to make sure that you and the rest of your group knows what you're going to be doing. You also want to be able to plan out your meals while you are there to make sure everyone has the supplies that they need, okay? And next, I would say permits. So wherever you are deciding to go, you need to make sure that those permits are in place. Is there anything additional, anything that you need to sign, or a parent, troop leader needs to sign off? You want to make sure that you have the right paperwork signed off before you arrive. Also, for our Girl Scouts, you can go online to your Girl Scout website, or you may be able to receive a book that's called our Safety Checkpoints. That will have a great list of different items that you might need, and then ideas of what you want to keep in mind when you're going survival camping. All right. So our next step is gather your gear. Gather your gear. So as you can see on the page, I have a compass, I have batteries, and I have sunglasses. So of course, that's not the only items that you are going to need. However, if you can put below, what are some other items you might need? And I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. All right. So as you can see, again, we have our batteries, we have our sunglasses, and we have our compass, okay? So some other things that you may want to bring with you: sunscreen. Definitely want to have that, because it might be sunny when you decide to go. It also might be very hot. Rain gear. What if the weather just takes a turn? You want to make sure that you have your rain gear with you so you are not stuck and all soaking wet. You also want to have a map or a GPS, whichever you prefer. We can take it old school and have our paper map. I'm sure you all will get a kick out of using that. Also, you may want to have a flashlight, or even better, a headlamp, so you don't have to hold on to anything. It just sits right there on your head. You may want some matches to help you start a fire. You may want to bring a box oven for your food. You want to bring some extra matches also. Any kind of emergency kit, maybe an emergency blanket. You want to make sure that you have that item with you. A waterproof bag, again, if it rains or if anything spills, at least your bag is waterproof so you can easily wipe that down. You want to have rope just in case you're going to need that. You also want to have your cooking gear to make sure, again, boxed oven, to make sure that you have everything you need to cook with. And then lastly, I put on my list duct tape. Later on, we're going to do an activity that will involve duct tape. So we'll get to that in just a few. If there's any other items that you want to add to your list, please do. I encourage you to compare and share those with your fellow Girl Scout sisters. And also, once you see that you're comparing and sharing your items on your list, there may be some things that you want to repair. So that means there might be some things that you want to add to your list, or maybe you just want to do your list over completely. So make sure that you compare your list, share it with your Girl Scout sisters, and then go back and see if you need to repair your list to add any new items that maybe you didn't think about. All right. So we're going to do a little activity time. And I'm going to exit out of my PowerPoint so you can see the activity. Let's see. And then I will share that with you. Let's see. All right. So we're going to pull up the science behind staying warm. And that should be coming up in just a second for you all to view. Okay. And if you can give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen.
I'm still seeing the PowerPoint.
Okay. Uh-oh. I'll take that down. All right. So here it is. There we go. All right. Can you see it now? Perfect. All right. All right. Thank y'all for bearing there with me. So we're going to talk a little bit about the science behind staying warm. And so instead of us going through all five, we're going to go through the top two. Okay. So one of the items that we did not mention yet was a sleeping bag. You might want to take a sleeping bag with you when you are going on your camping trip. So how do sleeping bags keep us warm? Why do we feel colder when it's windy? So we're going to take a minute and just read a couple of examples below to learn about how science, what the science is behind staying warm. Okay. So first, let's talk about radiation. So I'm going to give you the definition that it has listed here. Radiation is generated by thermal motion of charged particles in matter. Radiation is high heat and can be transferred without direct contact, okay? So here's a quick example. You can feel the heat when you're standing at a campfire, even a bonfire. Even when you're not touching the flames, you still really feel that heat. Another great example, if any of you have been to Miyabi's, that is one of my favorite restaurants. And when you're sitting there and they're cooking in front of you and they're doing all of different tricks and things, they usually like to make sure that those flames pop up and it gives us a really good show. But you can really feel that heat coming off. So sometimes we tend to lean back. So that's a good example of radiation. So what would be a way for us to use radiation to stay warm? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just to think about that. Awesome, awesome. Thank you all for writing those down. So I'm going to give you the two examples that I came up with. So you can trap the heat your body produces through radiation. Your body heat will warm the cooler air that surrounds it. Keep the warm air close to you by wearing many layers. Of course, if it's cold outside, you definitely want to make sure that you have some layers. While you're hiking, you may get hot, but make sure you have those layers. Warm air stays trapped between layers and in puffy materials, okay? So that's a really great example of how to keep warm using radiation. So next, let's talk about conduction. Okay, so the definition of conduction is how heat transfers through direct contact with objects that are touching. The hotter objects always passes heat to the cooler object, okay? So a good example here is if you're holding a snowball with your bare hand, your hand is obviously going to feel that cold and it's going to get cold. And the snow may melt as the heat transfers away from your hand to the snowball. So I know we have all been guilty of making snowballs, having snowball fights, but as you're holding it in your bare hand, you're going to feel that cold, really cold, but then the heat from your body is causing that to melt away in your hand, okay? So I'll give you a minute to talk about how to stay warm with using conduction. So I'll give you 1 minute to think about that. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to share with you how the example that I came up with on how we can use conduction to stay warm. So I actually have two. So the first is you can use conduction to your advantage by drinking warm liquids or eating warm food to warm up. So usually in the fall or winter time, you may see people drinking hot chocolate, and that's definitely something that you can take with you on your camping trip. Maybe a bowl of soup. Um, you can bring some soup with you, and nowadays soup kind of comes in a container that you can just heat up all in one, use it and sip your soup through there. So those are different things that you could probably eat or drink that can keep you warm, even hot tea while you are out camping. The next example is insulate your body from cold objects. So sleeping on a sleeping pad helps to reduce conduction heat transfer with the ground. So 2 sleeping bags are ideal for winter camping. Okay, 2 sleeping bags. Sit on a sleeping pad or camp chair when sitting around the fire. So those are my 2 examples of using conduction to stay warm. So thank you all for joining in that activity. Right. So now that we've learned that, I think we are ready to move on to step 4. So step 4 is learning a survival camp skill. So earlier we talked about having some soup or some hot chocolate with us on our camping adventure. So what we're actually going to be creating today is a duct tape bowl, okay? So this is going to be our minimalist maker duct tape bowl. You will need duct tape, of course, and scissors. So we are going to get started with that. All right. And if you can find the My Supplies, you will be able to see everything that I'm going to be doing here. All right. And I think I can be, there we go. Wanted to ping that video for you so you can see everything that we're about to do. So I'm going to move my laptop out of the way so you all will be able to hear me. All right, so for this activity, we are going to need our duct tape. I have 3 rolls here, and then we're going to need our scissors. All right, so you can see I have 3 colors because I just wanted to be different. You only have to use 1 color. You can get the decorative duct tape, whatever you wish, because this is going to be your bowl to use in your camping trip. I did make my own, and not the prettiest thing, but it does work. I can put drinks in there, I can put soup in there, and it will work for me. So we're gonna make another. All right, so I have pre-cut my duct tape here, and I'm gonna cut 2 more strips. Actually, I need 8, I have 6. So this is about 12 inches. Might be a little under, a little over, but you want to make sure that it's at least 12 inches long. I would say if you want to go any shorter, maybe 10 or 9. You want to make sure it has and it's going to be big enough for you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to cut 2 more strips, and I'm actually going to use this nice teal color. So I already have 4 strips of my neon green, and now I'm going to cut 2 more strips of my teal. All right, again, want to make sure it's somewhere around 12 inches. I'm just eyeballing that here, but if you wanted to use a ruler to be a little bit more precise, you certainly can. And remember, you don't have to use 2 colors, but if you want to be decorative, I say go ahead and do it. All right. So that is my 7th strip, and I'm going to cut 1 more. Again, want that to be somewhere around 12 inches long. All right. If you can give me a thumbs up that you can still hear me and you're with us. All right, perfect, perfect. All right, so that was my last strip there. Now with duct tape, we all know it is very sticky, and once the strips touch each other, it's very hard for them to come apart without breaking. So what I did, you probably can't see it with my table. What I did was all my strips I separated, and I just stuck it to the sides of my table. It's not going to mess up this table here. But I just stuck it to the side to keep them separated because we're going to do these one by one. All right, so we're done with our duct tape. So again, you only need 8 strips of duct tape, at least 12 inches long. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take my teal strip, and then I'll take a green strip. So I'm going to actually create a cross. You could also create an X. It's all the same. And we're going to make sure that the sticky side is facing up, okay? So let's go ahead and make this cross. And you're going to want to get that as centered as you can, okay? Awesome. All right, so there's our cross here. So next, I'm going to make another cross. So I'm going to push this one a little to the side. We're going to make another cross. Duct tape is very sticky. All right. Have another strip here. A 4th strip, and we're going to make a cross. Now, as you can see, we have our 2 crosses. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take this cross here, still facing sticky side up, and we are going to make an asterisk, okay? We're going to want to make an asterisk with this. So again, you're going to have to be careful because this is sticky. All right. I'm going to move this closer so y'all can see. So again, we're going to make an asterisk. Try to get it as perfect as you can, but again, it's okay. All right. So there is my asterisk. So give y'all a chance to continue to make yours. And I'm gonna go back to our chat box here and just talk about some other items that you all wanted to take with you on your camping trip. So we have, let's see, flashlight, of course your food, that's important. Sunscreen, a hat, and a water bottle. All of those are perfect things that you're gonna wanna take on your camping trip. Awesome. Awesome. So everyone probably has their asterisk all prepared and ready. Another thing when you're planning your trip, another good comment came in is you want to have someone with you who has previous experience. So that is a perfect thing to have on your list, is to have an expert with you. They are going to be the best at telling you other items that you might need. They also may be familiar with the area that you're going to be in when you're doing your survival camping. Another great item to use is toilet paper. That is perfect. You're definitely going to need toilet paper, other hygiene items while you are out camping. All right, so for our activity, we have our asterisk ready. So now with our last 4 strips, remember we needed 8 strips, and now we are on our last 4. So the best way to do this, we're gonna go 1 strip at a time because it can get really sticky as we mentioned earlier. So we're gonna take this strip here, and instead of facing it sticky side up, we're going to face it sticky side down, but before you stick it, we're going to lay this kind of offset, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So with this, I want to line it up with this strip here first, but I do kind of want to offset it, just so a little bit of the sticky sides that are already laying down are popping out from the corners. Just like that, okay? All right, see how it's a little offset? I have a little piece on this side and a little on this side. All right, I'm gonna go in with another strip. I'm using my green. So we're gonna match up with this strip here, okay? And again, just a little offset. So I'm matching it up, and I'm just gonna do a little offset, sticky side down. Again, this is the easiest way to do this. Do it 1 strip at a time. All right. Going in with another teal, just a little offset. All right, I think that's good. Making sure you're making still an asterisk with your new strips that you're laying down. All right, so we have 1 more strip, okay? 1 more strip. We're gonna line it up and offset it. Perfect, 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 perfect. So I know it looks a little crazy right now, but we're gonna put it together in just a second. So basically what we did, we started out with 4 strips, sticky side up, made an asterisk. And then with our last 4 strips, we did sticky side down, an offset asterisk. So basically all you did, instead of lining it up, you just moved it that way. Or this way, depending on which way you went. All right, so now we're ready to start making our bowl. So I'm going to start with this side. So the sides are going to go up north. So we want our tips to face north. So what I'm going to do is the sticky sides that are exposed, I'm going to bring them together the best way that I can. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, because we can always go back in with more duct tape. Putting all of our sticky sides together. I'll turn this around so you can kind of see that forming for us. And again, if you have any sticky sides that are exposed, you can go back and cover with more duct tape. It's starting to be really pretty. All right, so I have some sticky sides that are exposed. So I'm just going to fold them down. And that just came from some of the strips being a little longer than the others, and that is not a problem. All right. So this is our bowl here. Look at that. It's actually quite deep. But I can put soup in here. I can put a drink in here. If I wanted, this could be kind of a cover for, or excuse me, a koozie for my drink cup if I wanted it to be. But more importantly, this can be more of a bowl for you when you're drinking your soup, drinking water, drinking hot chocolate. All right, so those are the colors I chose to use. I think that's pretty cute. This is actually my third bowl that I made, so I'm ready to go on my trip. I have my bowls already prepared. The great thing about this is it doesn't take up a lot of room, very flexible. You could fold it down, and then as soon as you're ready to use it, open it right back up, and it is ready for use. All right. So I'm gonna sit that back there so you all can see the supplies that we used. Again, you only have to use one color, but if you want to be decorative, of course, go for it. All right. So I'm going to share my screen again with you. All right, so hopefully everyone can see the screen here. And we just finished our duct tape bowl right here. Hope you all enjoyed that activity. I thought this was very fun to do. Very fun to do. All right. So next steps, we just completed steps 1, 2, and 4. So the next steps that you're going to complete on your own is step 3, which is plan and prepare your trip meals. You may want to have an expert come in and talk about your survival nourishment while you are on your trip. Also, go ahead and create a box oven because you probably are going to need it. If you want to have anything heated up, like those cookies that are in the picture below, you definitely want to create a box oven. Also, take this time to try different cooking methods with the meals that you're going to be putting together. And step 5, go camping. We want you to go camping. We know that a lot of people are getting outside right now. So this is probably a great time to go out on your survival camping trip. If you can't be with your Girl Scout sisters, you probably can be with your family members. So take them out, and now that you're prepared, you can go camping. All right, so coming soon, we are taking pre-orders for our Girl Scout Connected patch. You can order those through Girl Scouts of Eastern South Carolina or Girl Scouts of South Carolina Mountains to Midlands. Now, are there any questions about our survival camper badge? This is a really great intro for you all, and it really gets you prepared for your camping trip. We have some nice weather that should be coming in, but even if it's raining, that should not stop your camp experience. So are there any questions before we close? All right. I don't think I see any questions. Oh. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Lakia. Lakia says she did an all green cup. So she probably did neon green or primary color green. Awesome. And make sure you send us those pictures of the cups that you created. We would love to see that. If there are no questions, I really want to thank you for joining us this morning. We just completed steps 1, 2, and 4, with steps 3 and 5 for you to complete on your own. Again, those steps were step 1, plan a survival camping trip. Step 2, gather your gear. Step 3, plan and prepare your trip meals. Step 4 is learn a survival camping skill. And then step 5 is go camping. So make sure that you complete steps 3 and 5 on your own. Thank you again for joining us today. We hope that you had fun learning about how to be a survival camper. We can't wait to hear the stories and see the photos of your camping experience. Don't forget to tune in next week on Friday, May the 29th at 11 a.m. for our Ambassador Trail Adventure Badge work. We also will be going on Facebook Live today at 3 with another great activity. We thank you all for being on, and we hope that you have a wonderful Memorial weekend. Bye.